To all of our friends out there who are affected by COVID-19 and the recent storms that went through the Deep South, our thoughts and prayers are with you today. I wanted to thank Ann Carr, Rocky Brett, Bo Hemphill, Leah Beasley, Eric George, Brandon Jolly, with all their help with the search, along with Dr. Keenum, who has provided extraordinary leadership to Mississippi State University through these challenging times. I also want to thank our women's basketball student athletes for their resiliency, their input, and their support during this past week. One of the major reasons Coach McCray-Penson chose to come to Mississippi State is because of you, the student athlete. We were looking for a leader in this process. We were looking for a proven winner, a dynamic recruiter who connects and mentors student athletes. I think we have that. Someone who understands and demonstrates and instills discipline while creating a sense of family. We talked to many in this industry. Everyone said the same thing. There was incredibly high praise for Nikki's competitiveness, her personality. We talked about her ability to recruit and her attention to detail and her ability to break down the game of basketball. Nikki's no stranger to the Southeastern Conference. She's won at every level of the game, both as an athlete and a coach. She's reached the Final Four as a player and a coach. She's won a national championship as a coach. And I find this really interesting. You want to talk about a winner. Nikki has been part of 17 different championships as a player and a coach. As a player at the University of Tennessee, she was on teams that went 122-11 during her time there. She's one of the best defensive players to have ever played the game, a two-time SEC Player of the Year, a two-time All-American, and a two-time gold medalist. She's a member of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, a three-time WNBA All-Star, who totaled 2,500-plus points during her WNBA career, a selected member of the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports in 2000. Most recently, the 2020 WBCA National Coach of the Year finalist and a 2020 Conference USA Coach of the Year. In many conversations with Nikki, one thing that continued to bubble up to the surface is that she wanted to be here at Mississippi State, which was really important to us. So it's at this point that I would like to formally welcome Nikki's husband, Thomas, their son, Thomas Nixon, and present to you our new basketball coach at Mississippi State University, Coach Nikki McCray-Penson. Take it away, Nikki.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to say thanks to all the media that's joining us today. Thank you, John, for the wonderful opening remarks. I want to say thank you to God, from whom all blessings flow. I want to reiterate what John just said. My thoughts and prayers go out to everyone affected by the devastating tornado that swept through Mississippi and the neighboring states. And also in the midst of the corona pandemic, I want to first thank the responders and the healthcare workers as they continue to help keep us safe and healthy. This is an unbelievable special moment for me and my family. I'm truly humbled, honored, and excited to be named the head women's basketball coach at Mississippi State, one of the premier women's colleges in the premier conference. Congratulations to Coach Schaefer for leading the Bulldogs to back-to-back trips to the Final Four in 2017 and 18, and 5 consecutive SEC championship game appearances. Those are incredible accomplishments. And my expectations for the program are to continue to build on this tradition and to compete for SEC championships and national championships every year. I grew up in Collierville, not too far from Starkville. I'm very familiar with this region. The relationships I still have in Tennessee, coupled with the relationships I forged with players, coaches, fans, and sponsors throughout the SEC, is deeply rooted in my DNA. When you're a part of a team, there is nothing more important than relationships you build with your team and the relationships you cultivate throughout your career. I will continue to build these relationships and look forward to developing new relationships with our players administrators, fans, and sponsors. I've been a part of some great programs and staffs. I've worked alongside and worked for some great coaches. From my playing time at Tennessee, USA basketball coaches representing them in the Olympics, as well as my WNBA coaches, being able to work alongside Mary Taylor Cowles at Western Kentucky and Dawn Staley for 9 years at South Carolina, and most recently, my coaching staff at ODU. I am confident that each of these experiences have prepared me for this opportunity. Mississippi State women's basketball has a rich history of success, and to have the opportunity to work with and impact these young women every single day is truly a blessing. I look forward to putting together a great staff and a team that will help us build on this history. My intention is to recruit and develop young women of high character who will help us become champions on the court, in the classroom, and in the community. I have so many people to thank who have helped me make this journey possible. First, I want to thank my husband, Thomas, and my son, Thomas Nixon. It is not easy being the husband of a coach, but Thomas has been with me every step of the way, and I will tell you, you don't find many men that encourage their wives and do such a great job of providing unconditional support. I would like to thank my mother-in-law, Dorothy Penson, for her sacrifice to help care for our son and give us peace of mind to do our jobs. Thomas Nixon, my mother-in-law, and I are really excited to join the Bulldog community. I would like to thank President Keenum, Athletics Director John Cohen, for their confidence and faith. I was thoroughly impressed with them as people, their love and passion for the university, Mississippi State athletics, and the women's basketball program. When John said, and I quote, he was looking for a relentless recruiter, someone who understood the deep meaning of family, someone who understood Mississippi State culture, a hungry competitor with an elite work ethic. We want someone who knows the game inside and out and has an innovative skill set. He was describing me to a T. And I could not be more excited about immersing myself into the Mississippi family. I also want to thank the search committee. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. And finally, I want to thank my incredible Old Dominion University family, starting with President Broderick and Mrs. Broderick and Dr. Seeley. Thank you for your love and support, and I will cherish those relationships forever. I've been taught to surround yourself with great people, and I am so grateful, blessed to be the head coach at Mississippi State, and I look forward to getting started immediately. Hail State, go Dogs.
All right, thanks, Coach. So we'll take a couple of questions for Coach. I will call on you. Make sure that you unmute yourself after I call on you. That'll be easiest. So we'll start off with Ben Portnoy at the Commercial Dispatch.
Hey, Nikki, how's it going? I guess first off, obviously you mentioned it, but you've coached under a number of prolific coaches, whether it's Pat, Mary Taylor, Nell, Donn, and others. I guess, how would you kind of describe your team's identities, and how do you feel like those coaches have kind of shaped that and sort of helped in that?
I think, for me, my team's identity will be similar to how I played the game. And if you've ever seen me play, I did the little things, and I took a lot of pride in that. But if you've watched our team at Old Dominion, we're a team that's going to play very fast. We're going to put a lot of pressure on you. We're going to have an identity when we step out on the court, and teams are going to know that. But it's going to be a fun, exciting brand of basketball. And my time at Tennessee, we played tough defense. That's what we were known for. Defense win championships. My time at South Carolina, we ran the ball. We pound the ball inside to the post. My time with USA basketball, I was around great players where we got up and down, and we were able to score at a fast rate. So all of those things have really kind of helped shape, my vision of how I want our teams to play. But I want them to play the way I played it hard, played it fun, and played it exciting.
Thanks so much.
All right, we'll go to Tyler Horka at the Clarion Ledger.
Hey, Nikki, you talked about in your opening statement there relationships, and obviously your relationships with your new players are very big. It looks like, based on social media, that everyone is pretty much coming back. Just wondering what those initial conversations what those conversations were like with them, and how excited they seem to be that you're their new head coach.
Well, that's really important to me, is building relationships with them. The conversations are going really well, and they're really excited. For me, it is really about listening to them right now and just getting a feel for them, and letting them get a feel for me, asking them what are some things I need to do to help, speed this up, but just really learning their personalities, and just really asking them what do they need. And that's really important. When you step into something like this, you want to make them feel a part of something. And that's what I'm doing right now. And it's been great. They are tremendous players, and they're awesome people.
And if I could follow up just real quickly, was there any worry that, some of them would want to go elsewhere, or that you would have to work really hard to retain them? It seemed like the process was pretty good to keep them all with you.
Well, I think for me, I talked to them about their why. I mean, we're in unprecedented times right now. Things are changing, coaching change, COVID. We just talked about why they chose a great university in Mississippi State. And they love it. They love everything about it, from the fans to the community, to the athletic administration. They love that. And those were great things to hear.
Next up, we'll go to Robbie Falk, 247 Sports.
Hey, Coach. Welcome.
Thank you.
Was just curious from your standpoint as a player, Mississippi State, before Sharon Fanning Otis came, there really wasn't any tradition with this program, and she kind of helped make them at least competitive. And now, they beat your program for the first time in 30-plus tries. What's your perspective on what this program is now that you've taken over to what it was back when you were a player in the early 90s?
And this program is one of the best programs in the country. When I pick up the phone and I say I'm the head coach of Mississippi State, they know who we are. And, obviously Vic has done a great job in that. This program has so much tradition and history where they've won. And obviously, setting a standard and playing in back-to-back Final Fours in 2017 and 18. Women's basketball is very popular. And it's been really good to see the growth of women's basketball across the country. And I'm just really excited, to be a part of this brand of basketball. But it's very popular, and everybody in America knows Mississippi State women's basketball.
All right, we'll go to Nakia Black at the ball out.
Hello, Coach. So at Old Dominion, we know that the 3 years that you were there, you progressively got better. What mentality are you going to bring with you to Mississippi State? And secondly, knowing and being a coach in the SEC, how do you think Pat Summitt would feel about it?
Well, I think, the mentality is a winning mentality. Getting to Old Dominion, you got to teach kids. I had to teach kids how to win. I mean, that's what I knew. I've been around winning programs my whole life. And, I took a really good blueprint from Tennessee, from South Carolina, and I took that to Old Dominion. I kind of shaped it, the way that fits me and my personality. But I'm a competitor, and my DNA is winning championships. I want to be playing on the last day every season. That is a beautiful thing. I know what that feels like. I know what it tastes like, and it's a beautiful thing. So just getting our kids to understand that and what that looks like and the progress towards that. And this university is used to that. This women's basketball team is used to that. So they already have it. We just have to sustain it. I think Coach would be very proud. And that's legacy when, you play for a great coach and they impact your life in so many ways. So now there's a lot of her players that coach in this league, There's a lot of her players that coach in general. So she's left a legacy in women's basketball and a tree of coaches that can carry on, her traditions.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Let's go to Trey Mongrue at WLBT.
Yeah, hey coach. Obviously your connections in the SEC run deep. When your head coaching career started, how often was it in the back of your mind that you would eventually end back up in the SEC?
Well, I think, for me, it's just be where your feet are. And, wherever I am, that's where I am, and I don't coach to get back in the SEC. I don't coach to be in a league. I just coach where I am and to be the best I am for where I am. And, and the success, will follow. But, as a competitor, you want to win. But it's also how you win and, in getting young players to understand what that looks like. For me, I just, coming into Old Dominion, I had to create a culture of what that looks like. And every year, we got better. And but we became better people along the way. And that impact was really, really powerful, because when you're empowering each other to be the best that you can be, then the wins are going to come. And that was really special for me.
And also real quick, just how weird is, the coaching hiring process for you in the middle of a pandemic?
It's our new normal, and I really enjoy talking with everybody on the committee. What I found was their love and passion for the university, and those are things that you cannot fake, you have to feel. And even when I stepped on campus, I could just see it, and it means something to them. This university means something to them, and you carry it with a lot of pride. I mean, you say, I play, coach, work from Mississippi State, and you say that with pride, and that's what I felt. And it carries weight.
All right, we'll go to Maria Cornelius at 247 Sports.
Oh, Nikki, good to see you again.
Hi.
Couple quick questions. If you could talk to Pat right now, I know we lost her 4 years ago, but if you could talk to Pat right now, what would you ask her, and what would she say to you about you being the head coach at Mississippi State?
Well, if I could talk to Pat, number one, I would thank her for everything that she has instilled in me, because, a big part of who I am, she shaped me. And, that would be the biggest thing, is to thank her, for just what she's done for me, for so many people that she's touched. And to me, that is critical. And what was your second part?
Well, what would Pat say to you if she could talk to you right now? What would she tell you about this move?
I mean, she would tell me how proud she was of me. She would tell me that I am prepared for this because of who I am and how I'm built. And that right there would just, mean a lot. And I'm just so thankful, not only for Pat, but for all the great coaches, like I said, my USA basketball coaches, being alongside Donn for 9 years, just being able to be in the midst of that and be able to learn every opportunity that you've been given to be able to learn and grow yourself, and be able to be in a position now to be able to facilitate that to me has been wonderful.
One last follow-up for those who don't know it. Pat nearly sent you home to Kaiserville when you were a freshman because you had trouble getting anywhere on time. How did that get resolved for you, and what did you learn from that as a young lady?
I learned that pretty quickly. I learned that, time management was very important, and that's one of the things that I really preach now to the young ladies here at Old Dominion. Is something that we're going to talk about a lot at Mississippi State, is about time, being respectful of their time, being respectful of everybody's time, but you have to be on time, and you have to be there the first 5 minutes. Don't just come when it's time to get on the bus. We want to be ready to go. But I learned that pretty quickly. Thank you. Who told you about that story? You read that in the book?
Pat talked about it a lot. She talked about how she had to get you a watch, and she had to get your mama involved. So you grow up a lot from freshman to senior year. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you.
Let's go to Joe Cook at WAPT.
Hey, how you doing, Nikki? Good to see you again.
Hi.
Well, you were mentioning the players earlier, and I just want to get your thoughts on the roster. It's not every time that a new coach comes into basically a top 10 caliber team. They're also very young as well. You know, Ricky Jackson, all conference, Jessica Carter, all conference as well. What about them and the rest of the roster makes you excited, you know, going to your first year?
I mean, obviously the cupboard is not bare. I mean, I came into a situation where, you know, you only lose, you know, really one starter. 70% of the offense returns. You got your top 2 scorers, rebounders, but everybody played. And to me, they have the experience of playing and what it takes to compete and win in the SEC. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, you know, they were not able to play in the NCAA tournament, but we know that's where they were going. But to have that experience come back, it is refreshing. It's just, you know, right now, just continue to try to figure out ways to keep them active, to keep them working on their craft, and just keep that love for the game, because they're at home. You know, there's no accountability right now, and but they're excited. I've talked to them. They're like, most of them want to come back, you know, and get in the gym, you know, but, you know, we can't do that. So, but to have the majority of the roster back is exciting.
And a quick follow-up as well. A lot of good food down here in the Magnolia State. Anything that you're looking forward to trying? I've had some fried green tomatoes and chicken on a stick and things like that. Anything that you're looking forward to?
Well, when I came down there, I can't remember, John may be able to help me out here, but we went to this one place, and I'm telling you, the food was absolutely great. I had catfish, I had fried okra. It was really good. So when I step down in Mississippi State again, I'm going there.
All right, let's go to David at the Charleston Post.
Hey, Nikki, it's Dave in Columbia. Good to see you again.
Hey, Dave.
Give my best to the 2 Thomases if you could. But my questions are, obviously, once you get started, a lot will be made of your relationship with Donn and going against each other. So first, how tough is it to play your friends? And second, how much will you reflect on the rise of South Carolina's success that you helped build?
Well, I think, you know, when you're a competitor, you don't have friends. And that's just the way it is. And, you know, Donn and I have always been like that, even playing against each other in our WNBA careers. You know, we only get together after the game is over. Don't call me, none of that. We don't do that, because we're really, really competitors, and that's what make us who we are. But I'm excited. I'm excited about the opportunity to compete against all the teams, you know, in the SEC. And, you know, obviously, you know, just being able to sit alongside Donn for 9 years. And we built the program to winning a national championship in 2017. And, you know, that was not hard. I mean, that was a process. But once we got it rolling, I mean, it felt pretty good, because you're able to get the kids in there that understood the culture and just wanted to win. And, you know, it's the same thing here. It's really about relationships and getting your kids in here. And, you know, again, building the relationships with these kids right now are really important to me, so that they know who I am and I know who they are. And that is just really conversation.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Let's go to Sue Favor with Women's Hoops World.
Hey, hi, Nikki. Congratulations.
Thank
I'm
you.
really happy for you.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you what since you at Old Dominion was your first head coaching opportunity, and frankly, you know, when you came in, you had to kind of build from the ground up. What did you learn in these past years at Old Dominion that you can bring to your new position?
I think that, again, it's about relationships. You know, when I got to Old Dominion, I had no idea who those players were, you know, and, you know, you have to get them to know you in order to buy in, you know, to the system, buy into the vision and all of those things. And, you know, sometimes that takes time. And, once I got my kids in year 2 and year 3, obviously things started to take off. But even though I had a relationship with most of those kids, and when you have a relationship with people and they know who you are and what you stand for, it makes it a little bit easier to buy in. And again, that's why it's so critical right now for that piece. This team, they've been very successful, 27-6, second in the SEC, going into, conference. It is now the relationship, because nothing has changed as far as why they came to Mississippi State. They came to a great university. They want to win a national championship. The pieces are still here to do that, and we want to keep that intact. Now it's just getting all on the same page and building that relationship.
And then just really quickly for a follow-up, I know you kind of partially answered a similar question, but being so intimately acquainted with so many people and so many other coaches in the SEC, do you feel like that kind of gives you an advantage to be playing against your frenemies being a tactician in games?
Well, definitely, and this is, again, everybody wants to have a chance to come to one of the premier conferences. And obviously the SEC is that. The best coaches are here. Obviously, Dawn Staley is the national coach of the year. So having a chance to go up against those coaches is great. But yeah, I've only been removed for 3 years. So I still have scouting reports on all the coaches and their teams. But yes, I mean, just knowing the league, the physicality of the league, the speed of the league, the type of recruits you have to be in this league, how you have to be on all the time from special situations, all of those things. Yes, knowing that I've been in here and played in this league, I know what to expect.
Thank you. It's great to have you back.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Brian Haydad with Super Talk.
Hey, Coach. Looking at this team and the expectation level you're going to walk into with year one, that's not normally what a new coach walks into. Mm-hmm. How different is it for you from going to Old Dominion, where you didn't have that level of expectation, to come to a team that in reality probably expects to compete for a national championship this year?
I think, that's the beauty of it. For me taking on this job, obviously a lot of it was, being able to connect with people, but also, this is a top 10 program. And nothing has changed about that, and I want to win national championships. That's my DNA. I want to win SEC championships, and we will. So to come into a program that is known for that, where the fan base is already established, where you're in a position where you create a home court advantage every single night, I mean, that is really awesome. And again, it's just sustaining, and just really excited about that.
Let's go to Tom Ebel at WCBI.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Tom.
When building a staff, what are some things that you look for, and what is your timeline so far to complete a staff at Mississippi State?
I think it's been really important for me right now is really building the relationships with the kids. And those are the things that I'm asking them. What do you want to see in a staff? So my staff will be built around their needs. I have to take that into consideration, because that's really important to me. And that's what we're doing right now. When I'm talking to our kids, I'm asking them those things. What would they like to see in a staff?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to Howard Mego at High Post Hoops.
Terrific. Thanks, Nikki, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Have two unrelated questions if I can. So I would start, one is on the court. You cited a bunch of different impetus for the styles that you play. And even at Old Dominion, you guys tended to play slower, whereas this Mississippi State team you're inheriting was, I think, 65th in pace this year nationally. I wonder how much you think the lessons you've learned lead into seeking out certain types of players, and how much of it comes down to change in style year to year based on personnel, just sort of how you balance those.
Well, I think, you want to recruit players that fit, your system, that fit your culture, and fit, the mission of the school. I mean, all of that is important. But when it comes to style of play, you want to be able to have players that can come in and just be able to do what you want within what you're doing and have that skill set. But I think that's very important. I look at that, when we're out recruiting, looking at the high character kids, not just from athletically, but academically, but they have to perform on the court. And you want to be able to give them the freedom to be able to do that. Nowadays, kids want to play fast. They do. I mean, you watch Steph Curry, you're watching James Harden. I mean, the three ball, that's what they want to do. But you want them to be able to express themselves and be in a position to where we're playing high intensity and a fun style of basketball. And that's what I like to do. And, my style is similar to what Vic runs. And, I had a chance to spend a lot of time with him with USA Basketball. And we talked a lot about, our styles, and obviously having a chance to compete against him when I was in the SEC. I knew a little bit about the dribble drive at that time, but now I know a lot about it. But, it's fun. It's a fun style. And I think our kids will really will really enjoy it.
I appreciate it. If I may, on a slightly different part of this, as a woman of color being hired here, we're at a point where in the Southeastern Conference, there are women of color throughout leadership positions. I think half of the coaching staffs as well. And I wonder what you think that says about where we are as a society within the basketball community and how important that is throughout the Southeastern Conference for what's to come in the decade ahead.
I think that's very important. And I think, for me, it is about, leaving a legacy and set an example for future generations, because that's what was set for me. Vivian Stringer set that example for me, for Dawn, Carolyn Peck, so that's what it is. It's really about leaving that legacy and setting that example for the future generation.
Thanks, Nick. You appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We'll go to Graham Hayes with ESPN.
Hi, Nikki. Thanks for doing this. You had mentioned earlier that it won't be difficult to coach against Donn just because, once the ball tips, you guys aren't friends. You still have to compete. But I'm curious, kind of beyond basketball, just going back with Donn as far as you do as teammates, as friends, as coworkers, just how that relationship has influenced kind of how you go about life. I'm sure that goes both ways, but for you, how has she influenced you?
Donn has been very instrumental. When I came to the Olympic team, there's certain people that you gravitate to. And, she's one that's been very honest at all times, but she's a giver, and she wants people around her to be successful. And again, a lot of my success have come, especially on the playing field, through her. She has, put me in a position to be successful on the court as a teammate. When I was at South Carolina as an assistant coach, she groomed me to be a head coach. She challenged me in so many ways, and I'm just so grateful for that because, I'm a part of her coaching tree as well, and I know that means a lot to her. But our relationship, we're sisters, and there's nothing that I can call her and she will be there at a drop of the dime. And I always tell her there's nothing that she and I have not ever been through together. And, and now to be able to coach against her and all the other great coaches, in this league is really exciting.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
We'll go to Ellie French with WTOK.
Coach, welcome back to the SEC.
Thank you.
My question for you is, how much did you lean on Coach Staley when making this decision?
Well, I leaned on her a lot because, Dawn has, she has such experience on different levels, coaching USA Basketball, coaching in a mid-major, going from a mid-major, to this conference. It was really good, to see her maturation in this and be able to, give her experience, have her give me some knowledge on that. And it was really good. And obviously, she's a competitor, and she loves the SEC conference, and she loves all the schools here. And she just told me what a great opportunity this is. It's no one really gets a chance to walk into a program like this. And that's different than when we came to South Carolina because we had to build it up. And it's just really about sustaining it. But she gave me a lot of good information and just really was rooting for me.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, we've got time for a couple of more. We're going to go back to Ben Portnoy with the commercial dispatch.
Hey, Nikki, just wanted to follow up. Do you have any kind of timeline in terms of when you want to hire assistant coaches, or is that just kind of playing it by ear right now?
Yeah, it's just playing it by ear right now for me. The more I talk to our kids and, I'm talking with them daily, and that is getting them to open up to me. It's really about them right now. And that's the most important thing. And making sure that I'm listening to their needs is really critical in making them feel a part of it.
And just quick follow-up, I know you guys have a couple of scholarships to play with going into next year. I mean, do you anticipate filling that with rising freshmen, grad transfer market? I mean, have you even kind of looked at that yet, really?
I think, well, obviously recruiting is the lifeline of what we do. And, we're in communication right now with players. And I will tell you, we're going to get players in there that fit what we are about, our culture. And but they have to fit. They have to fit our brand. And we know we are a national brand right now.
All right, we'll go over to Tyler Hork with the Clarion Ledger.
Hey, Nikki, just a couple more. First one's really quick. I asked what your conversations were like with the players. I'm just curious if you've talked to Madison Hayes, the recruit that's coming in. Obviously, it'd be a big deal to keep her committed and signed on with the program. What has your conversations been like with her?
Well, I've talked to all of them, and they have been great. I've talked to them, and I'm talking with their families. And, I haven't talked to all the families, like moms and dads. But, that process now is happening, and they're great. They're just, again, really learning me and just kind of getting a feel for me. And I'm asking them questions. They're asking me questions. And it's just really it's about just, let me feel her out. And as we move forward, now we'll talk more about the vision, breaking down film with them and the style of play and where they see themselves. And that's where we're getting to next. But really, it's just getting a feel for them and their needs. But all of the conversations have been great, and everybody's been awesome.
The second one is kind of an anecdotal question. Just wondering what it was like when you got that call from the Mississippi State administration. And obviously everything happened really quickly. Nobody even really knew that Vic was going to leave. But when an opportunity like that comes calling and you're the one that's getting called for that, just kind of take me through what that was like to get that call and now to be sitting where you're sitting here today.
Well, first of all, I was just so honored and, and just really thankful that, John called and I was able to talk to the committee. But what I was more impressed by was to hear it in their voices how much they love, Mississippi State. And just that's something that really resonated with me because, when you're passionate about something, that means you care about it. And they care about their student athletes. They care about the program. And they want the right people to be a part of the program that fit what they're trying to do. So just to even call me and, to look at me as a fit was truly an honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Last question for Coach McCray is Joe Cook at WAPT.
Yeah, Coach, I just want to follow up on the recruiting question again. A lot of good in-state talent here in the Magnolia State. Will that be a priority for you? I know Coach Hill at Ole Miss, you've done a great job bringing in a top recruiting class. She's rebuilding that program. Any familiarity or anyone that you, I know you can't say it, but just the talent here in Mississippi, is that going to be a priority that you want to target?
Oh, without question. I mean, anytime in any school that you're associated with the state, you want to make sure that you're taking care of the state. And that is the number one priority, making sure that we are in touch with the high school coaches, the JUCO coaches, the AAU coaches, all of that, and just building that relationship. That is really, really key. When I was at South Carolina, we recruited here, and so I'm very familiar with the area, some of the high schools and the coaches, and just can't wait to get on the phone with them. Some of them have reached out to me and just been you know, so happy to see me here, and as well as a lot of other people. So that right there has been very, very refreshing. But without question, we want the best player in the state to be a Bulldog.